have in the studio the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Akuriba Yaggy, and we shall be talking to him about all these and more. My name is Mohammed. Zunurene. DCOP.
Hello.
You're welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
And good morning too.
Good morning.
Wonderful. We have just about a week, or less than a week, so to speak, to go to the polls for the unit committee and district level elections, of which your outfit no doubt plays a very instrumental role in. We would like to know, at least we want some reassurance as to the preparations you've made so far to ensure security, law and order as well during this all-important exercise and after.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I think that when we talk of security is the responsibility of all of us. That's the electorate, the candidates, and then we, the security agents. Our duty, as you may know, in the election laws, we're supposed to ensure that materials for elections are safe. We're supposed to see to it that the conduct of the election is done peacefully, especially at the polling stations. And if you look at the manuals or the regulations in respect of elections, our duty is to escort election materials, ensure that election officials, the electorate and the candidates conduct the elections peacefully. So that's just all that we have to do. But we cannot achieve this if the electorate and then the candidates do not conduct themselves. We expect that at the district level is not going to be partisan, but we all will agree that there are undercurrents. At least if I'm portrayed to belong to, say, Party A and I'm mounting the platform, even though I'm not supposed to be seen to be carrying out duties to reflect or to indicate or suggest that I belong to Party A, people will know, but that should not be the main reason. You have to bring out your programs. So if you bring your programs and you don't insult anybody or incite people to rise against you, there wouldn't be any problem. So we must always be decorous in our language. So you mount a platform or you behave in a certain way that would suggest that you are insulting someone, then it's going to be a recipe for violence. And the electorate too should support their people depending on the programs that they give. You don't just get up, take drugs. Some of us take drugs, and before we realize, so I didn't know what made me to behave in a certain way. So if you know you cannot control yourself, if you take a little bit of drink or cigarettes or any other thing, you don't do it.
This UP, I think we shall come to that. It appears you're taking the wind out of my sail. We shall certainly come to that. But from your outfit, I'm particularly interested in the preparations, the measures you put in place to ensure that your men are ready to enhance or ensure our security during the exercise.
Okay, for now we have all the polling stations. You know, election is conducted at polling stations, and the EC, I'm sure maybe they would have come here to give you the number of polling stations that we have, and the police is supposed to secure the polling stations, and we have men for that. And sometimes it's not possible to provide security for each and every polling station because of our numbers. So we get support from our sister security agencies, that's the prisons, fire service, immigration. So we do that, and even where there's a shortfall, the national headquarters gives us more, because in other places you have fewer districts and then fewer polling stations. So we do that coordinate. For now, we don't have any problem, and then we also have standby men to respond to any eventualities, especially areas where there will be little violence, especially maybe due to boundary disputes or chieftaincy issue, or maybe political strongholds, and people want to flex their muscles that this is our area, you can't come here and do that. So we have in place the standby men, patrol teams to respond to all this.
Okay, so it means that if I really got you or understood you, you don't have any problem with personnel, because you'll be getting men from the other security agencies, as it has always been happening, to beef up security in the region.
That's true.
Okay, you made mention of areas where there are boundary issues and all that, which is likely to be a bit volatile because people will say maybe this is our stronghold, this is that, and all that. Do you have any specific plans to tackle any eventuality in those areas?
I've already indicated that we have patrol teams and we have standby men, and then Ghana Police Service that will have what we call the Form Police. And then the Rapid Deployment Force, RDF, they are meant or specifically trained to handle public disorder issues. So they are going to be on standby. So if you want to test our might, then we'll be ready. Especially, I'll take this opportunity to appeal to, there's a group called Kromagbi, Manya Krobo. I think they've issued threats that they are going to disrupt elections at Natriku, which is going to have their elections on Tuesday. They have issues. We, police, we don't talk about those issues. But I think that if you have an issue with a town that is not supposed to get involved in elections, you have to go through the due process. And I want to refer them to the gentleman who has been disqualified in the Central Region, and yesterday he was at the Supreme Court trying to prevent the election. That is what we expect every responsible citizen to do. But if you take the law into your hands, and I'm saying it again, Kromagbi in Manya Kroba, we would deal with them because we have the strength and the resolve to deal with any form of violence in the region. And I think that if you have any problem, legitimate or otherwise, you go through the due process. Yeah, because they will be infringing upon the election offenses. Because one of the offenses is that you should not prevent any registered voter from voting. Another one too is that you should not obstruct election officials from organizing elections. Apart from that too, if you assemble for unlawful purposes, it comes to the criminal aspect. There are so many charges that can be preferred on anybody who attempts to disrupt the election.
Okay, I am very much reassured, especially with your words, that you have the men to deal with any person who tries to disrupt the process or, cause any trouble during the process. You're listening to GBC Sunrise. It is time for Development Agenda, and we have in the studio the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Akuriba Yaggy, one of the names I really admire. All right, and pretty shortly, remember, we shall open the phone lines for you to call if you have any questions for the Regional Police Commander. You are free to do that. But in between time, DCOP, we know that normally, under normal circumstance, the district assembly level elections is not characterized with the kind of tension and sometimes acrimony that goes with presidential and parliamentary elections. But as you said in your earlier submission, there are certain political undertones, which means it is likely we can have a situation like this. You've mentioned
it is an association of the youth in Manya Krobo.
Natriku, right?
Manya Krobo. But Natriku is a town in Akuse area. It's a settlement, VRE settlement. After the construction of the Kong Dam, they had to settle them. And the Kong area, we had Fujoku, which is settled at the Volta region side of the river. And then Natriku is at the western side. It's a settlement of VRE, but they are currently under the administration of Dangwe West, because they claim they are from Osudoku. But now Manya Krobo, the Kromagbi, is an association of the youth, a voluntary association that has been championing the cause of the people of Manya Krobo. And they are saying that they are not going to allow the voting because there is judgment that says that Natriku should be under Lower Manya. We don't know that. We are only to ensure that there is law and order. And our mandate is to ensure that there is peaceful election from the EC and under the regulations.
Okay. So apart from that area, we also know that in the region, if we talk about one of the volatile areas, sometimes as far as elections are concerned, we can talk about Etiwa, we can talk about Benchembo area. that is Akuriba and all that. Have you gathered any intelligence as to whether some people are trying to foment trouble over there?
We don't have intelligence as of now. Like I said, it's supposed to be non-partisan, but sometimes people have their own perceptions, so they might try to cause problem, but we haven't. And I must emphasize that one place could be characterized as a flashpoint or a violent area in one election, but it will not necessarily mean that in the subsequent election it will be characterized as being violent. So it doesn't mean that if you were violent at a point A, you continue to be violent. Maybe the issues that brought about the violence might not be present in the next election. So we don't have, but anytime that we get the intelligence, we act upon.
But I'm sure you'd agree with me that some places like those that I mentioned, Akuriba and Itiwa, they've been a bit consistent with violence during elections.
But not with, I don't know whether if you can tell me the past district assembly elections, whether there has been violence. I'm not aware of that.
But that I cannot say, but
if you are talking of the parliamentary and this thing, we all read. I was not here, but I'm saying that I don't have any records or literature on violence during district assembly elections.
Yeah, I think ordinarily that is what we all expect. We all don't expect it to be as violent as sometimes the national elections can be. But with political undertones, you know, we are saying it's non-partisan, but most of us know that most people are hiding behind that non-partisan tag to perpetuate partisanship and all that. And once partisanship finds its way in there, it's likely to be associated with some heat and maybe acrimony. So that's why I think this should be of concern to most of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't have intelligence as of now, but as and when we get it, we'll do it. But I want to appeal to people. Why will Ghana be polarized such that because it's partisan, then there must be violence? Because both parties, both major parties are preaching against non-violence. And even if you are a responsible citizen, we watch elections around the country and even in Europe and the Americas where we tend to imitate. People just sit and then vote. Even you would not even know that this is a polling station. So why will you fight? If you have present credible programs and people will vote for you and not to fight, because we don't use violence to achieve whatever you want. So I think that it's always a misplaced priority or issue. We don't have to fight to the head. You present credible information. And I think the district elections too, if you want us to go back to the polarization, we could be unit committee, contesting for unit committee or assembly elections, and three of us could be from one party called A. So why would you want to fight? Because if you are all, even though the people there will know where they belong, but why will you fight if you all are from one party contesting by the parliamentary thing? It's always clear that you must go on your party line. So three of us or four in one unit could belong to one party, so there wouldn't be any need. That's the way I see it.
Okay, so for the benefit of our listeners who don't know, you use the word flashpoint, who don't know what flashpoints are, perhaps you could just give us a brief explanation of a flashpoint.
You know, from my end, or from what I understand by flashpoint, is areas that are potential violent spots. And the violence, like I mentioned earlier on, could be as a result of disagreement on boundary lines. Some are even settlers. In some cases, they will say you are not supposed to vote here, go and vote at another place. Boundary issues. It could also be because this is a stronghold of party A or B. So if you want to campaign, they'll tell you this one they will not allow you. There are areas that can bring about potential violence. So and then it could also be areas that were once violent. So we learn from history. So we characterize those areas as flashpoints, potential disturbances or violence.
Right, and let's move on to look at campaigns and all that. I think there's been mounting of platforms by some aspirants. There's been campaignings here and there and all that. Have you received any report of clashes or any violent conduct by some of these aspirants or their followers?
To the best of my knowledge, I have not had that. Maybe if it's been brought up, but I haven't come across any literature or information concerning that.
All right, let's move on and talk about your men and then readiness and all that. I think you've made it clear to us that as for the men, they are there. You're very ready to deal with any situation that might arise or that may arise in the course of the polls. But we also told you have challenges sometimes with moving your people from one place to another. It happens sometimes when you have to move suspects to court and all that. Sometimes there are not vehicles to do that. Sometimes you go to the station to report or make a complaint, and when they have to go and effect an arrest, you need to provide a means of transport, because obviously maybe your men don't have the means to do that. How assured are we that you can dispatch your men to get to the various places they're supposed to get to in order to ensure a law and order before, during, and after the polls?
Thank you. I think that before I answer that question, I just want to put it straight for all of us to understand as citizens of Ghana. When you say we don't have vehicles, maybe you will not have what I would say appropriate vehicles, like you are talking about conveying prisoners. In other jurisdictions, we have special vehicles for conveying prisoners. They are escort vans, and then we put them in. They cannot fall off or jump out. In our part of the world, we don't have that. So not that we don't have vehicles, we have vehicles, but they are not appropriate. And when you move them to the prison, there should be a holding point. Every court is supposed to have a cell. The courts do not even have. So sometimes even carry them. So I don't want us to go into that debate, but I just want to say that it is that we don't have appropriate vehicles, not that we don't have vehicles. And again, in other jurisdictions, you have pool of vehicles. So as and when, every 2 policemen is entitled to 1 vehicle. So if I have over 2,000 policemen in my region as it is now, I should have not less than 1,000 vehicles. So 2, you will all watch. It's 2, you and your patrolman, 2 to a car. So when there is a problem, you all rally round. But if you have 1 vehicle for 1 district, so when you say we don't have vehicles, it's not that we don't have. Every district now has a vehicle. But if you make a first complaint and you are required to use a car, then I use the car to say Oyoko, within 2 minutes, you can't determine the number of people who will make a case within 1 hour. So within that 1 hour that the car is away, 3 people have made cases. They'll tell you we don't have a car. But that doesn't mean you don't have a car, but the cars are not adequate. And in instances where they are not appropriate for carrying prisoners, you don't use open vehicles. So I don't want us to talk about that. Now coming to the substance of the case, EC is supposed to provide the resources for elections. If you look at our election laws, it is EC. We are only to maintain law and order. And it has always happened when the EC makes the representation. I think the RCC, or for that matter, the regional coordinating council will commandeer vehicles. I don't know how many vehicles you have. They might bring a request to you to release. That's what has always happened since elections started in the country, because the EC itself has no vehicles to do all. So we pool the resources. So all government agents, even private, if you can assist, you assist. So in our case, our vehicles will be used in addition to those that we commandeered and given to us to transport the election materials and then our men to the various places. So we don't have the problem with the transport, because it will be pooled into one point, and then the district election officials will come as and when to pick the policeman and the election materials to the polling station.
Okay, but I have been told that sometimes some of the institutions from which you commandeer those vehicles feel unwilling to release them.
I will not be able to answer that because I don't ask for that. It is the EC and the RCC.
Okay. So yours is okay, they are available, they are ready.
Our men are there. I'm sure you've witnessed elections before. We stay at the police station or wherever. They come, you move us, and when the vehicle is available. And sometimes you don't need one vehicle to perform a duty at one station. When the police stations are all on one area, so you pick all of them, drop them as and when the need arises. Then when they close, you bring them. So you can have a bus that will move from, say, Koforidua through the Tafo route up to Bonsu. Then after the elections, they bring them again in that form to the collation center or wherever they go. So it's a collaboration. So it's not only the EC and government officials, but any other person who thinks is patriotic enough would always provide. But I think government officials should not do that because it's the taxpayers' money, and the EC cannot have all the vehicles to do that. So you are only leasing out one or two of your vehicles for a day's job, 24 hours, and that's all.
It's 29 minutes into 9 a.m. You're listening to the development agenda on Adeha Chimbia, GBC Sunrise 106.7, 102.1 FM. And with me in the studio is the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Akuriba Yaggy. We're talking about security arrangement and other issues pertaining law and order so far as the upcoming district level elections is concerned. At the appropriate time, as I indicated earlier, we shall be opening the phone lines so that in case you have any questions for the Regional Police Commander, you are free to do that. DCOP, during national elections or presidential and parliamentary elections, we know the Electoral Commission normally organizes special voting for security personnel and other people whose services will be needed on that day. Do we have anything like that?
No, we don't have that because the district assembly and unit, you must reside in that area. So if, for instance, I'm here, I don't know any unit committee, why would I come to vote? You might even go and choose the wrong person. So we don't have special voting during this district and unit election.
Okay, but your men will also be voting. Certainly they'll be exercising their franchise. So with this, how do you reconcile that with the various postings or dispatchments that you would have to effect?
That's left to the individual. Like I'm here, I registered in Accra. So if I want to vote, it is my individual arrangement to see the EC to transfer my vote somewhere so that I can. But I'm not good, or I don't know much about elections and then transfer of votes. So I wouldn't want to say anything. But the discretion is left to the individual. If you want to vote and really want to exercise your franchise, it's your duty to sort it out with the EC.
Okay, and I think with security during elections, I think you are the technocrat. You know more about security issues because that is your area. But from a layman's point of view, we know that this brings an additional responsibility on you. Ordinarily or on normal day-to-day basis, you have your men at various places to ensure security and law and order. But with this additional task, it means that maybe you have to send some of them to various places and all that. Are we going to have enough men in town and the other areas to ensure that everything is safe?
We've been doing this. This is not the first time that we are doing conducting elections. We've always done that. We've made provisions for that. In any planning, you always have contingencies. So we have our core functions. Election is only in our part of the world that you need to deploy policemen to supervise elections. Other places we don't. So with our history and all that, we plan for all that because our core functions, there's no two ways. We do the patrols, we have men patrolling, providing fixed duties in the banks and other places, vital installations. We have them, patrols, we have all of them. That's why we collaborate with our sister security agencies.
Okay, I know you are well prepared, your men are well prepared and all that, but do you foresee any challenges?
When you talk of challenges, it's relative because I don't know whether challenges at my end or challenges at
your end.
If we are, our duty during elections to provide, like I said earlier on, the safety of the material, safety of election officials, safety of electorate who are conducting, that's our duty. So if we are talking of challenges, maybe I'll talk of the areas that we call the islands, the Dwarf Islands, the islands at Kwawu Afram Plains North. That's Donko Krom area. We have over 100 islands. And sometimes over the years, it has always been the case that it is difficult to transport materials in small boats. And we've always raised this concern that it is better to use helis to drop them there or better equipped boats with life-saving devices. But it has not always been the case, because some you have the votes, others too. So you get people moving, election officials and security men moving on these, moving to these islands on small boats without engines attached to them, and it's very risky. So maybe that's what I would see as a challenge. We must devise a better way of transporting materials to the islands.
Okay. DCOP Akuriba Yaggy, Eastern Regional Police Commander, is the man in the studio, and you're still listening to the development agenda on GBC Sunrise 106.7, and we also live on 102.1 FM. Now, DCOP, we've heard that one of the Greater Accra communities falls within your jurisdiction in terms of police division, specifically Akuse. That's what we have gathered. May I know whether you will be dispatching some of your men to that area as well, because there wouldn't be any elections?
Yeah, as I earlier stated, Natriku is a VRA settlement community within Akuse. And that's what I said. The men are there. They are going to be voting according to the EC. Yesterday, the Shah Osudoku held an emergency dissect, and they are supposed to vote. So the men will be there. But if you are talking of community, I would want to educate the public that the police districts and divisions are not coterminous with political and EC districts. So it is not only one Osudoku area, or Osudoku, Asuchari, and the smaller Bolivo, the smaller villages there. They are all under Dangwe West, or is it now? I don't know. They've split the district, but it used to be Dangwe West. So I don't know which of them now fall under Shire Osudoku or Dangwe West. But they are all under Eastern Region by police administration. But it doesn't mean that if it's in Eastern Region, then all of them fall under the Eastern Region politically. No. So the police districts are different from the political and election districts. They are not coterminous. So my district commander in Akuse, for instance, attends MUSEC at Manyakrobo, MUSEC at Somaya, MUSEC at Dodowa, and MUSEC at Shai Osudoku, 4 districts, because they cut across.
At this point, in case you want to come in and ask the DCOP any question, you are free to do that by calling us via 03420918222, 03420918222, 03420918222. And remember that the president delivers the State of the Nation's address this morning, and we shall be bringing you that one to live on GBC Sunrise 106.7 and 102.1 megahertz. So we're still waiting for you to call 03420918222. Sir, I know that most of your men exhibit a lot of professional integrity, highest professional standard. But you would agree with me that some of your men in any human institution, you have the bad nut and the good one. And I quite remember the same question was posed to the Interior Minister last week when he visited. There has been a recent survey by the Institute of Economic Affairs, which, according to the survey, the public perceive the police as the #1 most corrupt institution. This is not all. In 2013, the Global Corruption Barometer released by Transparency International also cited the police as the most corrupt. As the regional police commander, I know when we talk about the police being corrupt, it's not limited to one region. It's talking about police in general, not necessarily here. But as the regional commander, how do you feel when you sometimes hear things like this? And what do you intend to do to rid the service of such people who are denting the image of this noble institution?
I'm happy you said it's a human institution, and every human institution have the bad guys. I always say in every family or institution you have the Kofi Basa Basa. So if we are talking of corruption, I don't know their definition of corruption. So people just see corruption to be taking money. I remember there was a anti-corruption seminar, and somebody raised an issue that even how many of us who say we don't charge our phones in our offices? Our offices, do we pay for it?
Perhaps
no. I'm just I'm leading you to something. So the police is such that when you wake up in the morning, there's no family in the country that will not meet police in any of their interactions, whether you are traveling or, and if you look, the perception is always saying the motor traffic and transport department, but that is not so. The law on corruption says that the giver and the receiver is wrong. Why would you even want to offer any bribe? Let's take it that way, because they are only saying it. We don't know the parameters that led them to make all these statements. So I think that maybe they have to always tell us how they went in, the number of people, the sample size, whoever they interviewed. Because if you go and interview just 3 people or 1,000 and you want it to be representative, I don't think that is right. But I'm saying that corruption per se, normally you have to get the evidence. If you look at all the discourses that have been going on, they say evidence. So can they bring out evidence? And even those that sometimes we even get, when we request the giver or whoever made that report to come, they'll tell you, I'm not interested, I'm only reporting to you, but I don't want to spoil somebody's job. If mere reporting doesn't make sense. So to rid of corruption in the police service, we need people to be bold. You make corruption is the mind, because do unto others as you like others do to you. If I don't want to be corrupt, I won't corrupt anybody. So if we all go by that, I don't think there will be a problem, because the law frowns on the giver and the receiver. So if you think we should rid the institution of the bad ones, let us collaborate, let's cooperate, let us give evidence, lead evidence. When you report and we call you or invite you, let us see you forthcoming, so that you prove, and then when there is proof, action will be taken against that individual.
All right. So it takes 2 to tango. It takes 2 to be corrupt. But then perhaps we can, on our part, for instance, if somebody offers and you don't take it, you are not seen as being corrupt. The person offers, you don't take it.
Yes,
then you make sure the law takes its course.
That's right. Like me, I know that I'm boasting, but I can always talk on my behalf, because you give me something, I don't need it. But it's not everybody who can do that. So that I'm saying is 2 people who to do that. So if you give me and I don't take, that is all. In other jurisdictions, you even arrest you. Even if I arrest you, our cultural practice is also disturbing. Even if I arrest you and you start begging, it's an offense. You touch me, it's an offense. I'll document all that and prefer charges against you.
DCOP, we shall continue with that, but I think I have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Borna.
Okay, please, can you speak up a bit? We can hardly hear you. Go on.
Yeah, I'm speaking from Kufobia, Borna.
Okay, and your name is?
My name is John Emin.
Okay, John, please, let's hear you.
What I want to say is that I think we are in a society, a disciplined society. But these days, I think what people are bringing to bear is tarnishing the image of our country. Few people, we are about 25 or 28 million in this country. And few people we think they have sampled. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. Go on.
They have sampled ideas of about 1,000 people. And then they bring this to air. Ghana of all nations. And even like your studio, I've never been there before. How can I say the people working in your studio are corrupt? How can I say people working in the ministry are corrupt when I've never been there? So I think you are doing very good work for the country. But these things must stop. Because, the Bible says something. That if the people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, I will heal their land. And people are trying to bring death. So please, these things are very serious. You see, we have to stop these things. You tell the policeman who guides you is a corrupt man. You will tell the president person who rules you is a corrupt man. You tell the minister you have elected to parliament, a corrupt man. Then where are we going, my brother? So these things are very serious. We take it on the surface. But in the actual fact, we are changing the image of our country, which is respected worldwide. You know, Ghana is a country, if you travel out, you will see that. It's a country people respect us. But now look at what is happening. Some few people with their own emotions, they go out and say anything. So please,
all right, John, thank you very much for your contribution. All right, I think if I understood John perfectly, he's trying to say we shouldn't sit back and condemn people or describe them as being corrupt when we are not with them and we don't really know what goes on there. I think that's what he's trying to say. You can also call us via 03420918222 03420918222. This you were making a point before the call came in, I think, concerning this issue of corruption.
Yeah, I was saying that sometimes I ask myself, for the past 2 years or so, we've been talking about corruption. Who is the corrupt Ghanaian? That's my question. Corruption is from the mind. If you were trained from a good family background, if they give you any money at all, you will not take it. But then, here's the case, we glorify corruption. So everywhere you go, some of us for more than 20 years that we've practice our profession, we don't have any properties. But somebody comes one day, he wants to have everything, and the society compares you to that person. So we should start from our mind, and then let us take action against people who are seen to be corrupt. Why is the IRS? If you see me suddenly acquiring wealth within 2 years, they should be made to answer. I had a friend who was working in an institution in Ghana here, a foreigner. Then he went back for more than 10 years. And when he went back, he bought a house. The next 1 month, the IRS was on him to explain how he got. So he was telling that he had to show the time he was in Ghana, the salary he was earning, and back home before he was left free. Can we do that in Ghana?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Please, what's the name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Nubu, calling from Ghana.
Okay, Nubu, let's hear you.
Okay, congratulations to DCOP. I want to ask how many people or police personnel is going to strike in one police station? If one, how can this secure the situation if there might be a riot?
How can they do what?
Secure the situation if there is a riot.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Right. Thank you, Nubu. I think what he's saying is that he's trying to find out how many personnel will you dispatch to per polling station, and what would they do in case any routing situation arises.
Yeah, like I earlier indicated, this is not the first time we are organizing election. We've organized election for so many years. We have one policeman to one polling station, but if it's a flashpoint, you double it or even 3. And we have patrol teams, mobile patrol teams. We have effective communications. If you call, they move there. The previous elections can serve as a pointer. One person alone, I would say if we organize ourselves, we don't have any problem. So he has a mobile phone, a radio communication system, that's a Motorola. He only calls, and then the patrol teams comes there. So there's no point deliberating on this. And in other places too, we have cluster of police stations. In schools, you can have 5 police stations there. They are seen to be very normal. They don't have problems. They conduct themselves well, and you can have only one man, one policeman or woman controlling a cluster of police stations. So we don't have any problem. You shouldn't be worried. When there's any sign, the police will respond. We have the standby and the mobile patrol units who always respond to situations like that.
Okay, I think my producer wants to know whether from your submission, whether you are not kind of underestimating what can happen in this election, whether you're taking it too easy for that matter.
No, it's normal. That's what I'm saying. That this is not the first time we're conducting elections. So why would somebody panic? Your duty is to control all forms of violence in the country. If you're a law enforcement, you're supposed to maintain law and order. So why would you be afraid? The only appeal is that if you're a responsible citizen, you don't fight. we are not in the democratic society. We are not in the jungle where survival of the fittest. And even in the jungle, if you look at dogs, when dogs are fighting, they control their territory. When you are conquered, or even if you are not strong, the dog coils the tail under itself. Then the other one knows that I've surrendered. I don't have. So why would you want to fight? If there is, why will you fight? So I don't think that there's a problem. If you dare fight, I've said it already that we are resolved, we are going to be robust, but within the confines of the law. So somebody who wants to dare us can try. We are going to be robust when we are responding to issues like that, but within the confines of the law.
Wow, they are certainly going to be robust within the confines of the law and miscreants who would try to foment trouble during this election. 0342091822, 0342091822. I have a couple of calls more to take before we go. I have in the studio the Regional Police Commander DCOP Akuriba Yaggy, and we're talking about security arrangement as we prepare to go to the polls for the district level elections. DCOP, I'm one of those who belong to the school of thought that think that corrupt politician, a corrupt policeman, a corrupt whoever is a reflection of the kind of society we have. I strongly believe in that. If we have a corrupt society, certainly you don't expect to get something different, because it's the same people from the various communities who ascend those positions, and then at the end of the day, either they engage in corrupt activities or we see them as such. It's the same people. Now, in the police service, are there hindrances and impediments on the path of those who try to be as sincere and as clean as possible? Clean in the sense that they try to avoid any forms of corrupt practices. Because I once had a conversation with one officer, and what he told me was that at times you try to insist that the right thing is done. Maybe you effect an arrest, the person begs you, tries to bribe you, and you refuse to take it. But what happens is, if you are not careful, it gets to the station, and then maybe the person knows somebody up there. The person picks a phone, calls the person, and before you realize, your case is thrown out. At the end of the day, you, the policeman who insisted on doing the right thing, appear a bit, excuse me to say, silly. So, are there certain strengths that prevent genuine policemen who want to ensure that the right thing is done, don't get a chance to do that?
Well, I don't know you, but me, I think that if you have certain principles, if you have certain principles, you go by those principles, no matter the strings and all those things. It's true, even in every organization, sometimes you want to do certain things and then they are constrained somewhere, right? That's what I call interference, whether horizontal or vertical. You always have those interferences, but then it depends on your principle.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please, what's your name? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling to PG Edu.
Say again.
I'm calling from Open School.
Your name again?
PG Edu.
Okay, please, let's hear you.
I'm a little bit worried about some matters going on in the country. Whenever you tune to any of the radio stations, you hear of corruption. Even quite recently, about a day or two ago, it was even announced on the national radio that corruption is now bedding in the president's office. May I know, if we are singing these songs in the country, are we not sending bad information to external investors? Thank you.
All right. I think this is a rhetorical question which doesn't necessarily need an answer. Right. 0340918822.
Let me complete what we're talking about. We're still talking about the reflection of the society. I would say corruption, it's the mind. I started by saying that if you are trained properly from your house and then you come out, the whole society will be against you. So sometimes you want to do something there. So this work you every day, is it for your father? Even the society condones that. If you want to go against it, the society is a frowns on that. You think you are this thing, you are that. So it's the same thing. In an institution you have impediments, but I call those impediments interferences. It could either be vertical or horizontal. So if the officer that you met said that is it. But if you are principled, you believe in your principles, no matter what. I always believe in the Chinese proverb that light the candle but don't blame darkness.
Wow, light the candle, don't blame darkness. I think I'll put this in my pocket and perhaps I'll need it one day. We're about wrapping up. Before we do that, we have just about 3 days to aim. 3 days after the district level elections will be Ghana's 58th independence celebration, and I'm sure listeners will not forgive me if I don't ask something concerning this. You know, it's a time that people gather at places, some people travel, fun trips and all that, and bad people also see that opportunity to engage in their nefarious acts. I want to know whether there are certain plans also in place to ensure law and order. I know you've always planned to ensure law and order, but maybe some specific plans to ensure law and order during our 58th independence celebration.
We don't have any problem, like I said earlier. We have our core functions, those to maintain law and order. And then the responsibility of the citizen is to assist us. So if you think that there's any problem, you just call our numbers. But we don't have any problem. We've zoned the Kufudra itself into 4. So you have patrol teams everywhere. And this is replicated in all the divisions and districts. You have patrol teams moving all around. So if you call, they will always respond. But we need the intelligence, we need the information. You give us adequate information, we move there, and there shouldn't be any problem. We don't have any problem as of now.
Right. So generally, what is the security situation in the region? Briefly.
I think we don't have serious issues, because if you can sleep without somebody attacking you, then we can say it is safe. But then, if you get some signs of people who are strange in your area, or if somebody is about to attack your neighbor and you are aware, you call. But we have instances where even they attack you and then they see and they will not call. I'll just give an instance. Last night, they went to I'm not good at this program. Amwana. Yes. They went and tied a 91-year-old lady and they took her property. But when they called the police quickly went there and arrested 3 of them, including a lady. Why would you go to tie an old lady, 91 years old? So when we get the information, we move. And it's robbery, because you don't tie somebody, tie them up, the legs, and then rob them.
All right, and finally, let's listen to your general advice for candidates, for election officials and electorates.
I think the candidates should only present their programs. Some of them normally will present programs that they cannot fulfill, like construction of roads. So when you come and you're not able to do this, then you incur the wrath of the electorate. So maybe they should present credible information and also talk to their supporters not to take the law into their own hands. They shouldn't insult people. Their language should be decorous. They shouldn't insult people. If they do that, present credible information programs, I don't think there should be any problem.
All right, thank you very much, DCOP Akuriba Yaggy, Eastern Regional Police Commander. This is where we draw down the curtains on this morning's edition of Adia Chimpia and Development Agenda. My name is Mohammed. Zunurene. Thank you for joining us. 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 Thank you.